This called? Give me a word. Comes to mind. This whole chapter. What comes to mind? Imperialism. What the heck is imperialism? Katie, what's imperialism? What's a good example of an empire building throughout history, anytime? What else? Give me some people. British Empire. What else? Somebody heard of William the Conqueror? Alexander the Great. You kind of wonder how great he was.
Not great at all.
Not if you were one that got conquered. No. Lots of land changing hands. The United States wants a piece of the pie. Why does the United States become imperialistic? So what does that do to imperialism? I agree with what you're driving at, but give me some specifics. Why are we getting imperialism? What are we looking for? What are we doing? What's happening? Navy, military. What else? Trade. Now we're getting somewhere. Think money. Think dollar signs. Katie, you said at the end of the period yesterday, that key word, we're fulfilling our. I was just going to go with destiny, but yeah, they said manifest. It's part of our destiny. What territories are we acquiring? Shade, give me one. Madison, give me one. Well, not Spain exactly, but you're in the ballpark. It was Spanish territory. Cuba, Hawaii.
Alaska.
They said some other ones in the video we just watched.
Guam.
Guam. Missing one real big one yet. Name for a king of Spain. Philippines, yes. Okay, on we go. So, Katie, just say it again. That last word up there on the screen. We are fulfilling our, and I had you all build up, but I didn't have it plugged in, sorry. Our what? Our destiny, yes. It's our destiny. So many in America thought. Now, I also want you to understand as we go through this, others thought, no, it's not our destiny. There is an anti-imperialist league that is dead set against this. Take a guess who one of them is. Okay, who do you think is the main imperialist? We just watched a movie. Don't be so tentative. Say it loud with confidence. Who do you think is anti-imperialism? No, not Roosevelt. He led the charge.
Oh yeah, he was. Washington.
I couldn't agree more. But this person's alive and well at this time.
Right now? No.
I make him pretty old. Well, good guess. Okay, we'll go with that. Hey, Merry Christmas. What else? Give me a name. I don't know how to give you a hint. No. You saw him in the beginning of the video, and you should know this.
She didn't say Lincoln. She said she's thinking.
Well, it's not Lincoln anyway.
It did tell you said Lincoln.
They said his name at the beginning. It would be McKinley's arch enemy.
Jenny Bryant, whatever his name is.
Thank you. Say it again. What's his first name? Anybody? On we go. Take a look at the map now. Hawaii, the big one. Hawaii, the big ones are Hawaii, Guam, Philippines. Not Cuba. Cuba we actually don't take over except for one naval base. Why is that important? Take a look at that. That's pronounced Guantanamo. The reason why I want you to know that is that becomes U.S. territory. Does anybody know something that happened there after September 11, 2001? Something really important, and I'll tell you, it was very controversial. John, you look like you're thinking. Do you have an idea?
They send a bunch of prisoners there.
Bingo. Many prisoners that were arrested for the terror attacks were taken to Guantanamo Bay. Why were they taken there? Because if they're on U.S. soil, they get the right to a lawyer, a trial, and everything else. Guantanamo Bay, no, they don't. Why did that happen? Well, some said the American taxpayers would never go for that. That your money goes for their lawyers. Others said, wait a minute, you're paying for the base. So I want you to understand I'm not telling you how to think. I'm just telling you what the facts are. You think what you want. Just throwing that out there. Okay, on we go. The other thing is, as you mentioned there, the economy. We're looking to expand our markets. Why? Because what closed? The frontier. But then again, did it really? Remember that counter thesis. No. If you go out to the Southwest today, you're going to find things like Silicon Valley, Microsoft, right? Did it really close? I just wonder that. I don't know. Has anybody ever been out west, past the Mississippi? Did you do some driving by any chance? I was there in, well, it was about 98, about 100 plus years later. And let me tell you, I don't think this frontier closed. I don't think it's closed yet. There's a lot of territory out there that if they're saying it closed, now did we hit the Pacific? Sure, we can agree with that. But look at that, number one. Let's read it. Grow real loud and clear. Number one.
Markets beyond American shores, the need for overseas markets for increased industrial and agricultural production.
Why is agriculture up there? Why is agriculture? What are we doing with agriculture? How much more food does the United States grow than what we actually consume? I was asking Shade. Because you're an FFA and you leave this class to go to FFA, so you should know the answer.
3 times.
Some would argue 4.
5 times.
Imperialism, one major turning point, the purchase of Alaska. Now that is not during period 7. Look at the date, 1867. Who was William Seward? Anybody remember that? We did hit him last year. William Seward. He was attacked. Anybody remember by who? Katie, you look like you're thinking. It was not the same. No, it was not that. It was somebody different. William Seward was Lincoln's Secretary of State. He was attacked the same night Lincoln was assassinated. What was he wearing? Anybody remember? That protect his life. Yep, he was in an iron cast. He was paralyzed from the neck down. He did regain his sense or his ability to walk. Would you ever think that being in an iron cast, paralyzed from the neck down, is actually a good thing? For him, it actually was. Look for the good in everything. But obviously, that would take a tremendous amount of courage to look for the good in something like that. I think we could all agree. Read the screen. John, go.
Imperialism turning point. It began purchase of Alaska from Russia, 1867. Seward's folly. Hawaii, coup of the negative government of Hawaii, a plot sponsored by American planters and growers in the Hawaiian Islands. Both Alaska and Hawaii became territories, and although many questioned the wisdom of the Alaska purchase, the Hawaii takeover clearly had an economic motive. After Cuban rebelled against Spain for independence, the United States defeated Spain in the Spanish-American War in 1898, making a fairly easy test since Spain was long past the peak of her colonial power. The Treaty of Paris gave the U.S., Philippines, Puerto Rico, Guam to the United States as protectorates, as well as considerable economic control of Cuba. The U.S. took a more active role in Latin American affairs. To keep their new empire intact, President Theodore Roosevelt advocated the building of a powerful American Navy. And the United States sponsored the building of the Panama Canal to allow the Great White Fleet access to the east and west coast of the country.
Let's break it down. Seward up at the top. Why Seward's folly? Why did they call it a folly?
Icebox.
Yes, they call it Seward's icebox. Next one. Hawaii. Who's leading the coup? In Hawaii. John just read it. Take a look. Yeah, we want the sugar, and we want it now. You might think, well, that's crazy. Why are we going to war over sugar? Well, have you ever seen food that does not exist naturally? Anything that's baked? Anything at all? It has sugar in it, doesn't it? Sugar is important. Believe it or not, there are some that claim that sugar is more valuable than the oil industry. I would never agree with something like that, but I'll tell you what, think about it. It's right up there. We do not grow sugar in the United States. That's pretty big. Okay, that's pretty big, isn't it? All right, so Alaska and Hawaii, they become territories. Cuba, we have economic ties, but it does not become a colony. Why is McKinley up there in parentheses? Treaty of Paris. What territories do we gain? Okay, and economic control of Cuba. Once again, here comes Theodore Roosevelt. You can't be a world power if you don't have what?
Money.
Money. What else? Say that again, Grow. What branch of the military?
Navy.
Navy. Now we're getting somewhere.
A bunch of times.
I didn't say you were wrong,
Ain't calling you.
but I appreciate the feistiness. Yes. Say it again. Do it.
The American Navy. What was that?
Which Roosevelt called
U.S. has many.
What do you mean?
Great
Say that louder.
White Fleet.
The Great White Fleet. Don't think for 1 minute there was not race involved in that. There certainly was. Okay, that it was called the Great White Fleet for a reason, no doubt. Okay, no doubt. Okay, Gilded Age continued. Let's take a look. Let's see if we can put this all together. This is context coming right at you. Go, grow, go.
Major changes in the U.S. economy and foreign policies occurred. Populism and progressivism tried to address the resulting problems of industry and urbanization, and neglectful decay will eventually lead to the Great Depression. Progressives did have much success in taming corruption and greed, as well as improving work conditions and in protecting women and children. Nevertheless, fundamental economic structures remained vulnerable and the system collapsed. Franklin's New Deal saved capitalism, but in a different format through the New Deal. Political watershed 2, the Great Depression and New Deal. Foreign policy watershed, World War II, similar progress, the automobile and the war production.
And that's all coming at you right here through period 7. Okay, real quick. Hawaii, what happens there? Let's take a look. Katie, go.
Desperate Americans seceded, and Hawaii seemed ready for annexation when Grover Cleveland became president again. Investigating the coup started by U.S. planters found his hero. He believed that Native Hawaiians had been wronged by U.S. government support for an armed sugar interest support to overthrow a Queen
Liliani.
that enjoyed negligible support among Native Hawaiians. McKinley in 1896 annexed Hawaii.
So it wasn't Cleveland, but it was McKinley. So McKinley does make Hawaii a territory, not a state yet. That's coming later. Okay? Take a look at this. Let's see if we can figure out what good old William Jennings has to say about all this. John, please, you're William Jennings.
Imperialism is the policy of an empire. And an empire is a nation composed of different races living under varying forms of government. A republic cannot be an empire, for a republic rests upon the theory that the government derives their powers from the consent of the government, and colonialism violates this theory. We do not want the Filipinos for citizens. They cannot, without danger to us, share in the government of our nation, and moreover, we cannot afford to add another race question to the race questions which we already have. Neither can we hold the Filipinos as subjects, even if we could benefit them by doing. Our experiment in colonialism has been unfortunate. Instead of profit, it has brought loss. Instead of strength, it brought weakness. Instead of glory, it brought humiliation.
Okay, so let's take a look at this. Historical context. What's going on at this time period? John, you want it?
The U.S. is just, it got done with the Spanish-American War, and it's taking over more land, like outside territories.
Okay, good. What? Give me another word. Taking over other land. Okay, give me another word. Imperialism, Age of Empire, any of that flies. Who's he talking to? Who's he talking to? Who's the audience? Katie. Absolutely. And I would also say definitely Congress people, even the president. What's the purpose point of view? Either one I'll go with. Purpose point of view.
It's to get the people on the side of imperialism because colonialism hasn't gotten them anywhere and it's only made them more problems.
Say that first part again. What's he trying to do?
To put people more on the side of imperialism and expansion rather than colonialism because that only brought them problems.
I would go with the second part of that. He's actually slamming it. He's saying this is the last thing we need. What was a big country in 1492? Imperialist power. Say it louder.
Spain.
Why isn't anybody else saying it?
Spain.
Well, what happened to Spain?
Downdrain.
Yeah. That's what William Jennings Bryan will say happened to the United States. Yeah, you can get all the territory, but you got to protect it. It's got to be valuable. You don't just get territory for the sake of it. Notice he's also throwing race in there.
Yeah.
What's going on in 1898, especially in the South? Has to do with race. Jim Crow, yeah. Which obviously William Jennings Bryan would have been opposed to. Okay, so you can take a look at that. Maybe he's talking to his political supporters. I doubt it. I think he's talking to the American people. I agree. But there's some other, you can see that. Notice the purpose. Condemning acquisition of the Philippines. Okay. Ending colonialism. Okay. He's also campaigning at the same time. All right. Okay, moving right along. What's happening here? Notice that's the cover of a magazine.
Bashing Ryan for because he's against imperialism. They're making him a fool.
Okay. Anything else you see here?
They also, the people beside him are immigrants that they portray in a negative light.
Oh, they might not be immigrants though.
Or people from the countries that are trying to take over.
Can you see the countries on there? I know it's hard to see.
Filipino and Chinese.
Yep. And that would be, of course, referring to the Boxer War. Obviously, very racist as well. But that was in the United States Magazine, as you can see, published in 1900. It was called Judge Magazine. Notice the very bottom there, powerful Democratic argument against imperialism. Who's the Democratic candidate for president? Who's the Democratic candidate for president? Be confident. Say it. William Jennings Bryan. So who's the Republican? McKinley. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go to page 3. Okay, we only have a few minutes here, about 10, so we'll try to get this done. And if we get it done together, we don't do it for homework. So that's important. Go ahead and hit the lights, please. All right. Document A. Go, Shade, go.
In 1898, the battleship USS Maine was sent to Havana, Cuba, to protect U.S. interests during the Cuban revolt against Spain. On February 14th, the vessel exploded and sank. Many Americans blamed Spain, and the incident helped trigger the Spanish-American War.
Hang on. I'm sorry, everybody. It's the page 3 of your handout packet, the right on. Yeah, you are, but not everybody knew where we were.
Below is from an official report of the U.S. Naval report of inquiry into the sinking of the Maine. The report was released on March 21st, 1898. The vertical keel of the ship is broken into, and the flat keel is bent at an angle similar to the angle formed by the outside bottom plating. This break is now about 6 feet below the surface of the water, and about 30 feet above its normal position. In the opinion of the court, the Maine was destroyed by the explosion of a submarine mine, which caused the partial explosion of 2 or more of her. The court has been unable to obtain evidence fixing the responsibility for the destruction of the Maine upon any person or persons.
Document B. Kemper.
Sector appeared in front page story March 6, 1898 in San Francisco called Hall correspondent with West of Grounds for the saying of the Council General Lee, who has been quietly conducting investigations independently of the Naval Court. He has sent employed detectives who have obtained front Havana sailors' evidence struggling him to a plot to destroy the Maine. That he filed a report with the State Department expressing the opinion that although the Spanish government was not in any way responsible for the Maine's destruction, it appeared the work was done by Spaniards who were supervisors of Spain's governor, Cuba Wilder.
Okay, so go to question 1 there. In the weeks after the loss of the Maine, confusion about what caused the explosion added to the American tensions with Spain or Cuba. How does document A provide evidence of this confusion? Okay, give it a shot. And then B, how does B also provide evidence of confusion about what caused the explosion? Just jot down a couple of phrases. You don't need to write it out, as an essay. We're just gonna go over it anyway. Okay. But I want you to look at them. Okay. Okay, let's 3, 2, 1 it or think, pair, share it. Turn to the person beside you, see what they have, see what you have.
You said they have not found any evidence exploring the responsibility for destruction or replace it with a explosion of December 1. I
Okay, Kemper, what do you got? Lumber your part.
Which one?
I don't know. Whichever one you want to do. Did you do one with these guys? Did you guys talk?
No, we were writing. I was waiting for them to finish.
Okay, you guys ready? Go ahead, talk about it. Take 30 seconds because we're gonna have to go over quick.
I said for number one, that the confusion that was causing explosions in documenting states that found has been unable to find evidence for the conveyance of explosion. And the question being whether the conveyance project was responsible or not the government.
The document basically said that the name was destroyed by the explosion of the submarine line. And then the B is that there was evidence that strongly suggested a plot. There was a plot to destroy the name.
Okay, so document A, real quick. Go, John, go.
Document A claims that a report said that a Spanish naval mine exploded the engine of the USS Maine.
Okay. And Spain obviously is suspected of the whole thing. I have that written down. Okay. How about document B? Grow, somebody over here on this side, whoever wants to try it.
I said that detectives found evidence that pointed out that there was a plot to destroy the
Okay. And been plotted by Spaniards who were sympathizers. But the catch here is it had nothing to do with the government of Spain, even if it was.
They said that it wasn't the government, it was the Spanish people.
Yeah, it might have been Spanish sympathizers. Turned out years later, there was an explosion in the kitchen. Spain had nothing to do with it.
How'd they find that out?
I don't know exactly. I have the document. We'll take a look at it though. So we're at war with Spain. I just want you, and I want you to know that. Okay. Okay. So, March of the Flag. What do you think that means? Don't read it. Just look at the title. What does March of the Flag mean? Anybody ever play Capture the Flag? What are we doing?
No.
I say
She's answering the question. Calm down. Go.
martial flag, I feel like it means like you go in and you take somebody's territory, like you bring in your own flag and march.
Let's say you have a globe in your hand and we're marching the flag. What are we doing?
Taking the flag off the globe.
Taking a flag around the world. Okay. This was actually a speech by Albert Beveridge. Do want you to be aware of that. Albert Beveridge. It was actually called the March of the Flag speech. The March of the Flag. Take a look at his notable quotes. We won't read the whole speech, so I just put up there some notable quotes. Look at what he said. If England can govern land, so can America. What do you think? Does that mean we should do it? Did you ever hear that phrase, well, if you can do it, so can I?
It's not always true.
Not always true. Look at the next one. In Cuba alone, there are 15 million acres of uncut forest. There are mines of iron. There are millions of acres still unexplored. So we're not going to hurt anybody if we go in there, right? That's what he's saying.
Well, that's what they did here. Another native and they killed them.
Look at number 3. The speech aimed at promoting U.S. imperialism both as divine and national mission that originated with Thomas Jefferson. Give me a fact that goes along with Jefferson. No, that's Jackson.
Starts with Jackson.
Give me a fact that goes along with Jefferson. That has to do with imperialism, please. Katie. Now we're getting somewhere. Say that again. Yes, Shade, you said it. Say it again.
Louisiana Purchase.
Yes. Don't make this the only thing you remember from class today. Go into Canvas. We got 4 things coming up Monday. I did add that other one as I said I would. Make sure you take a look at that. 4 on Monday, January 3rd. Have a great break. I won't see you tomorrow. Have fun.